This tutorial looks at photosynthesis, which is a process, a biological or biochemical process, so a chemical reaction which removes carbon from the atmosphere. So the primary producers are a sink for carbon. So we'll begin by asking a question. How does an apple seed grow into an apple tree? Well, if we look at the seeds, we can see they're pretty small. They've got a small biomass. But a number of years later, we've got a huge tree with juicy apples hanging off it, which clearly have a large biomass. So where does that mass come from? Well, this was a question asked by Jean-Baptiste van Helmont in the 17th century. So in the 1600s, he asked this question. So Van Helmont got himself a big pot and filled it with soil. He then planted a small shrub or tree in the soil, and this was an experiment that lasted 5 years, and during those 5 years all Van Helmont did was add water to the tree. After 5 years he found that the tree had gained 74 kilograms in biomass, whereas the soil, well, that had stayed the same. So what Van Helmont inferred was that the mass must have come from the water he added. That was his conclusion to his experiment. That's what he inferred, but he was wrong. This was an incorrect inference. So where did the mass come from? Well, the mass came from a gas, carbon dioxide. It was carbon dioxide which was added to the plant so that it gained in mass. So carbon dioxide taken from the atmosphere can be fixed. So this is what is known as carbon fixation, where carbon in the gaseous form is converted to a solid. So photosynthesis is all about fixing carbon, carbon fixation. So the raw materials for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide and water. Also needed, but not a raw material, is chlorophyll. So the pigment chlorophyll is responsible for trapping the light's energy. So all primary producers will have chlorophyll pigments that trap light energy. So as long as we've got light and chlorophyll and these raw materials, we can basically make sugar and oxygen as a byproduct. And as you can see, we've got a balanced chemical equation here. We've got 6 carbon atoms as part of our carbon dioxide material, a reactant, and as our product we've got 1 molecule of sugar, glucose, but within that sugar there are the same 6 carbon atoms. And a useful byproduct for life on Earth is oxygen, which we all need for respiration. So, in summary, carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere, and through the process of photosynthesis it's incorporated into other organic molecules. So the plant will make sugars, oils, proteins. So photosynthesis is the process of removing carbon from the atmosphere.